Hello everybody and welcome to another episode. Well, the last video you would have seen would have been me working on the tree in this painting here. Well, the painting's finished. I finished it a few days ago. But, well actually, I finished it a week or so ago. But in the last video, I was showing you how I worked on this tree here, but now we're going to move over to the shadows underneath the tree. They're not too difficult to do, but I'm just going to show you a quick video of how I did that. This video, for those of you that don't know, some of you will know because you will have watched the last video, but I'm rambling again as usual. But that is due to be a full lesson on MJS TV on my lessons website, which you can see the link in the description, or you can find it on my shop website. There's a link to it on my shop website. Click on the link up here. But anyway, it will be available by the end of the week, or by the time you're watching this, it may already be released. But let's get into the video before I start talking any more rubbish. Okay, so now we're going to work on the sand. We're going to work in the distance there to begin with, and we're going to move or work our way forwards. So the colour that we need to put on here is quite light. That sand is not far from being brilliant white, certainly in the distance there. So I'm just going to build up on those lighter tones and then work our way forwards onto those main shadows in the foreground. This shadow that we have nearer the foreground comes right out to about this point here. Now, the process here is I'm almost going to be blocking this shadow in. The surface that I'm painting on is currently dry, so we're putting this new coat over dry paint, very much like a block in. But it's very difficult to get any softness to the shadows when we are painting wet on dry. So what we're going to do is we'll start adding some lighter tones that are then going to join and meet up with the darker tones, and that's going to allow us to blend the two colours together and get a nice soft edge. So I'm adding those lighter colours now, and what I'm going to do is fill in that area between the two shadows there. So now I've done that, I'm going to start working on the body of this shadow. And I'm just using a rigger brush. This is the Series 1 size 1. And we're going to get that blocked in, and then we're going to work on the softness. Okay. Now surround that again with the lighter colour. So I'm going to continue with the rigger brush because you want that to be really accurate. So straight in with the lighter colour. Now it needs a gentle softening as well, so we're just going to go up to the edge and ever so slightly over the darker edge, just with the tip of the brush. And that's going to give us a softer transition between the light and the dark colours that we have. Probably the best way to demonstrate this is to move on to one of the foreground shadows, and that way you'll be able to see in a little bit more detail exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so now we have that shadow area roughly blocked in. We're going to go back to the lighter colour, to the sand colour. And we are going to slowly soften up the edges. Let me see if I can explain that a little bit better for you. So let's imagine in this little illustration that this block of colour we can see here is the ground. This is the block in, this is the dry bed that we are now going to be painting on. And what we do is we then add the shadow, which you can see here. Just pick a colour, something similar to about that, I would say. And then we add our shadow. So I know this is quite crude, but you get the idea. So we add the shadow. And then what we're left with, on the left is the dry block in. On the right-hand side is the new wet paint that we've just added. And then what we need to do is we then go back and we add the sand colour again. So we are adding now a wet colour to the dry background. And we go right up against the shadow colour that we've just put on. We go slightly over the edge of it. And as you can see, what starts to happen is we start blending the colours together. And as we keep going over it, the more we go over it, the softer it's going to be. And that's pretty much how we do it. We just smush those colours together. And that is what gives us the soft edge. Now, obviously the details that I'm painting in here are very, very fine. So I'm continuing to use the rigger brush, using the very point of the rigger brush. And that's giving us just the right amount of softness for such a fine and delicate shadow. And then once we've softened as much as we can with the rigger brush, I think it's quite a good idea to then give a more of a general blend with a fan brush. And in this case, I'm using my Series 8 blending brush. It's a really soft synthetic brush, so it really just softens it slightly, but it takes away any little ridges of paint, which ultimately helps to make it that bit more realistic.